It drifted silently for 7 long months, abandoned, forgotten, a solitary figure floating through the black void beyond our solar system. Voyager 2, one of humanity's most remarkable feats of engineering, had fallen silent. After decades of continuous communication, transmitting data from the farthest reaches of known space, the probe had gone dark. NASA feared the worst, that the spacecraft launched in 1977 had finally succumbed to the cold indifference of deep space. But then, something extraordinary happened. A signal returned. Not just a brief confirmation of life, but a full transmission, an unexpected message that scientists are still struggling to fully understand. Was it a malfunction? A glitch? Or had Voyager 2 encountered something other? Voyager 2 launched on August 20th, 1977, as part of a mission so bold it was nearly unthinkable. The probe carried a mere fraction of the memory found in even the simplest modern devices, operating on less than 23 watts of power, less than a standard light bulb. It was never designed to return, only to fly onward, endlessly into the unknown. Its original journey took it past Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, sending back images and data that shattered prior assumptions. It captured immense planetary storms, rings we never knew existed, and icy moons with active geysers. It revealed shifting atmospheres, strange magnetic fields, features that transformed blurry dots in our sky into dynamic, living worlds. But Voyager 2's mission didn't end there. After its grand tour of the outer planets, the spacecraft continued outward. In 2018, it crossed the boundary of the heliosphere, the region dominated by solar wind, into true interstellar space. This edge, once imagined as a clean border, was instead a roiling membrane of turbulence and invisible forces. Voyager showed us that the line between our solar system and the galaxy beyond was not fixed. It was alive. And beyond that line, the rules began to change. For decades, Voyager 2 maintained a fragile line of communication with Earth, its signals faint miracles of endurance traveling across billions of kilometers of void. But in March 2020, that signal vanished. NASA initially attributed the silence to maintenance at the Goldstone antenna, but as time passed without re-establishing contact, concern deepened. Had Voyager finally failed? Had it drifted too far? Then, in October, the impossible occurred. A command was sent to the probe and it responded, flawlessly. Not only did it receive and execute the instruction, it adjusted its position and sent back a full data stream, as if the silence had never happened. But that wasn't the strange part. The strange part came in what followed. Voyager began transmitting telemetry that should have been impossible. Systems believed dormant since the 1980s suddenly came alive, sending data. Subsystems long thought defunct were online again. Engineers were stunned. The data wasn't just old, it was unfamiliar. Signals were layered, encoded in frequencies Voyager hadn't used in decades, containing patterns and echoes that hadn't been documented before. Binary structures, recursive commands, like the spacecraft was sending back a version of itself, rewritten. NASA's initial explanation cited a possible software loop triggered by radiation, but outside experts noticed something odd. Parts of Voyager's original code were embedded in these transmissions, but rearranged, self-referencing, transformed. Some believed this was a last-ditch effort by the probe to preserve its identity. Others thought it was something far more disturbing, that Voyager hadn't just malfunctioned but encountered something that reached into its systems, read them, and sent them back altered like an echo, or a reply. If that's true, then the message didn't come from Voyager alone. It came from whatever Voyager had passed through, or contacted. While NASA made no public comment, internal documents leaked by former contractors contained one recurring phrase: unknown interaction detected. We've always imagined the outer cosmos as silent and inert, but Voyager's discoveries challenge that assumption. Space, even in its most distant regions, is not dead. It pushes back, with radiation, magnetic currents, energetic particles. Structures out there behave like invisible rivers and shifting walls. Voyager 2's mysterious signal wasn't an end. It was a beginning. A revelation. Perhaps we are not, and never were, alone. Not in the traditional sense of intelligent civilizations, but in a more abstract, unnerving way. The universe may not be passive. It may respond. Maybe it always has. Voyager's journey continues, though its voice may soon fade. But before that happens, scientists are racing to decode every remaining byte of its final transmissions. Somewhere, buried in those signals, might lie evidence that the boundary we thought separated us from the unknown was only ever imagined. As NASA continued dissecting the data, attention turned to a particular packet transmitted just before Voyager went silent. This packet triggered concern not only because of its content, but because of its timing. The readings it contained didn't match expected patterns of plasma or magnetic behavior in interstellar space. The data was too organized, too consistent. One report even mentioned pressure differentials inconsistent with natural cosmic turbulence. Translated from technical jargon, that means something appeared to press, intentionally or not, against Voyager's surroundings. Some researchers speculated the probe had passed near an unknown object, hidden from detection. Others suggested it may have entered a zone of artificial stability, like a tunnel or corridor not formed by nature. These ideas were never made public, but simulations began in secret facilities. The results were unsettling. Voyager 2 had moved through something, and it hadn't come through unchanged. For decades, space agencies have worried about contaminating other worlds, meticulously sterilizing probes before launch. But Voyager 2 raised a different kind of concern. What if the probe had been changed, not physically, but informationally? What if it absorbed a pattern, an instruction, or even a kind of code? When the backup systems reactivated and began transmitting recursive loops, some engineers didn't see it as a failure. They saw intent, a form of behavior, a reaction. The idea that the universe could imprint something onto a machine isn't science fiction anymore. It's a growing, unsettling possibility. In response, NASA created a new isolated team to monitor Voyager 2's transmissions, separate from the usual channels. Its data is no longer treated as just science. It's unpredictable. Engineers have observed that the signal strength doesn't just fade, it surges. Pulses echo. Patterns mirror earlier transmissions from Voyager 1, but in reverse. Some suggest the probes may be relaying information through an unknown medium, a kind of delayed feedback loop in the structure of space. Others fear it's something else entirely, a kind of resonance with a force or intelligence we don't yet understand. No official statements have been made. Internal memos are encrypted, communications restricted. One leaked note read simply, "Maintain position. Do not respond unless instructed," as if there's a chance someone or something might answer. As Voyager 2 drifts even farther into the interstellar night, what it sends back becomes more than just data. It becomes a reflection, not only of the cosmos, but of ourselves. For the first time in our history, a machine we created has entered a place no human can go. We can't see it. We may never fully understand it. And that's where the real fear lies. Not in the idea that Voyager found something alien, but that it found something ancient, not made of metal or matter, but of space itself. A pattern, a force, a structure that reacts to mass, to memory, to motion. If that's the case, Voyager hasn't just explored space, it's become a part of it. A relay, a key, a catalyst for something older than stars. Its final message wasn't an end. It was a threshold, and we may have already crossed. Yet Voyager 2 was never meant to return. It was never designed to speak again. It was a whisper cast into the abyss. But somehow it did speak, not with words or code as we know them, but with something more enigmatic, more profound. A reply that feels conscious. We still don't know what the probe encountered. A force? A structure? A communication without language, based on rhythm, radiation, even gravity itself. What we once believed was empty may instead be a field of awareness threaded through space. Voyager 2 may not have just crossed a boundary. It may have awakened something, or revealed a truth we were never meant to see. We thought no one was listening because no one ever answered. But now we have to wonder, what if something did, and Voyager 2 was the only one who could hear it?